Welcome back to Tay Radio Marin. I am your host, Santi Hernandez, joined by my two amazing friends, Jesse Cruz and Miguel Rodriguez, who we've had on the show before. They're local filmmakers. I mean, they do a lot of things. But today we're going to be talking about Hispanic Heritage Month, which is September 15th all the way to October 15th. But yeah, go ahead and introduce yourselves again to the community.
Hi, everyone. My name is Miguel Rodriguez, and I'm a local filmmaker from here in Marin.
Hi, my name is Jesse Cruz, and I'm also a filmmaker here in Marin, partners with Miguel Rodriguez and Devin.
I think I forgot to mention that the reason why we're all sitting here is I'm from Guatemala. I was born in Guatemala. My family is from Guatemala, but you are from?
El Salvador.
And then you're from?
Mexico.
So a little bit, we're Central
American.
Central America.
Yeah.
And I'm very excited to have you set this up because we're all from very different but same, like we have similar things. But we're going to start off with talking about, what does Hispanic Heritage Month mean to you personally?
To me personally,
is it new? Have you known about it?
It's like somewhat new to me. I didn't really know much about. I don't know if it was a thing when I was growing up. It's definitely a lot more recent for me the past couple of years. I was like, oh, Hispanic Heritage Month. I didn't really know that was a thing up until recently. But I mean, from like the media and stuff like that, all I can really tell is just like celebrating people that are Hispanic in like, different parts of the world, or like different, sports, media, all that kind of things. Everyone's kind of celebrated.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. I just recently, like, as I got like older, started hearing more about like that Hispanic Heritage Month, and also just what that entails as far as like celebrating culture from that part of the world, and that kind of people and everything. So
if you Google Hispanic Heritage Month and the history of it, it's been going on for like over 20 years. Especially, I believe it's especially after the Civil War, right? No, not the Civil War, the Civil Rights Movement. But I think for our generation, it might be more. I feel like there's more. Like if you go to Target, you'll see Hispanic Heritage Month stuff on the shelves. So I feel like it's getting more popularity, I would say.
I would say like after like 2020 or during the pandemic, I feel like that's when I really said, like, that's when I realized, oh, it's Hispanic Heritage Month. That's when I started seeing more of it, at least.
Yeah, that's what I'm with you guys. I think it started being more popular
and recognized
more. How is your culture being represented here in Marin? Is it at all? Is it not?
I mean, the most I really see about it is from here. I see you guys post about it, the Day of the Dead event coming up soon. That's really where I see the most of it. I see it, I'm a big Giants fan, so I'm always on the Giants pages and stuff, and I see it there. They're celebrating. They had a whole Hispanic Heritage Month in the ballpark, and then and also I've seen some stuff in Sacramento as well. But not much here, I feel like.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. I see that MCM posts a lot about like events and like things that they do, but also, the area over there, like in Canal, a lot of people are out there like selling food, and there's music playing all the time everywhere. Like it's just cool. Like I see it all around there, but I feel like in other areas, like up in Novato, I think it's lacking that kind of culture up there. Yeah. A little bit.
You mentioned Canal, and every time I pass by Canal, it makes me feel. It's not my. My family and I, we were there for a while. Then we moved up towards Terra Linda and all that place. But every time I go to Canal, it feels like home in a way because of the food. When a few years ago, maybe 7-10 years ago, like there was not a lot of pupuserias around, and now there's some delicious pupuserias in Canal, and some of them are food trucks that provide that, and so it tastes. That's one thing I love about the Canal. It has food from Mexico, from El Salvador, from other places, which is really nice. In Terra Linda, I don't see anything being done for Hispanic Heritage Month. I think schools do mention it a little bit more. But Novato, I wouldn't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I live there. I live in Novato. I don't see anything. Yeah. Really.
Day of the Dead is a big... it's not... It doesn't fall into the timeline of Hispanic Heritage Month, but it does celebrate, the cultures of everyone, how they celebrate Day of the Dead, and brings everybody together, which is nice. Do you guys have anything else to add?
No. About that? No. Other than it should probably be, popularized a little bit more.
Yeah.
Okay, let me ask this question. What would you like to see?
What would I like to see?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm not sure. Because in Novato, I'm thinking about it now, Novato, I have noticed there's a lot more restaurants opening up. Like there's a new, I forget, I thought it was a Salvadorian at first, but it's not. I forgot where it's from, but it's opening up right next, or I think it's open now. I'm not sure if it is or not, but it's right where the Ace Hardware is, right where the post office. It's like right on the street there.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. I don't know the name of it either, yeah.
Yeah, I see the flags there. And that's like the newest spot I've seen in Novato. But here, like just down over here, there's that. I think it's a Salvadorian, like a little like store that saying coming soon. It's been saying that for like the past year.
Really?
Yeah. Just like down here, right by the bagel shop.
Oh, the grocery store. Oh, I did not know it was a Salvadorian.
I think it is because they have like con champan and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. I think it's open now.
Is it?
Javi, is it open? I saw it open today with a little balloon.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Grand opening today?
I'm pretty sure, but
Imagine.
I might be. I mean, what about you? What would you like to see?
I mean, there's always been like Mexican restaurants up in Novato, like as far as like from different varieties. Like some of them have like mixed with other kind of food or other styles of food, but some of them are just straight up Mexican restaurants. And I think other than that, I haven't really seen any other. Again, like I don't see street vendors out there that much, and I would like to see more of that because I feel like, I mean, there's one specific area where like my mom lives where like paleteros or like an ice cream truck or like elotero comes by like that specific area and they don't go anywhere else.
Yeah.
Because no one else is gonna probably come out and like buy anything, and I don't know. I feel like it should be more normalized, like as far as like having them show up a little bit more, maybe in other areas of the city, and I don't know. I feel like that would be cool.
I think the thing that causes a lot of food vendors to be afraid is permits.
Yeah,
Permits are required, and a lot of them don't have permits, and that causes them to not go to certain areas.
Yeah.
I live in Terra Linda. In the neighborhood that I live in, it's mainly there's not a lot of Latinos, but there is an elotero that passes by, but they just go where the apartments are and not from our our neighborhood, because I think it's just like it's a little bit more dangerous for them.
Yeah, I feel like they feel a little bit more safe going to somewhere where like they know the people are gonna come out and like they know that they're not in like danger, or like gonna get in trouble.
Yeah, but I enjoy going to. I think Canal is like the place where I can think of it. It has a lot of variety of food and things to do. Yeah. But I think we missed something. I wanted to know more about like Salvadorian culture. What does that mean versus Mexican culture versus Guatemalan culture? Because it's different and the same. At the same time. Yeah.
I think honestly, it's probably just a lot of obviously accent. Salvadorian accent. You can tell when someone's Salvadorian just off their accent alone. It's close to like Honduras too, like their accents, because since they're so close to each other. When I was in El Salvador this past summer, like my mom and my family, they were telling me the closer you get to Honduras, like the border, you can see the different, like you can hear the difference in accents there, and when you're getting closer to that part of the country. But honestly, I feel like it's all not. I wouldn't say the same, because culture is definitely different for sure, different celebrations and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
and then food for sure. I think a lot of the food's different.
Yeah, I would say we use similar ingredients, but they're cooked very, very differently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the horchata, Mexican horchata versus Salvadorian horchata is very different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. Just because I've heard that, like, because I've never actually been to Mexico. I've never had the chance to go visit, and I would love to go. But I've heard that it's so big that in so many different areas, people's accents, how they speak Spanish, or how they even just like little things they do as far as their like what they celebrate and like how they celebrate certain like events or anything, they do it differently in those places, and then as far as I guess like Mexican culture in the U.S., that also is still a little bit different from like how they celebrate or how they talk or how they, you know, their slang or anything is different from back in Mexico.
Ooh, I would agree with that. In our case, well, I'm indigenous, so I see different things very differently, because if you talk about my Spanish side, my accent, it's not Guatemalan accent, because I learned Spanish here. My family learned Spanish here. So our accent, if you talk to us, you can't really, we don't speak the way our, like Chapines speak. We don't have that accent. But we'd also have the accent of Mexico or El Salvador.
Right.
So our Spanish is very different. And when I go back home, you can feel that. Now, the indigenous part is like very, very different. And one thing I've learned, I don't know about El Salvador, but in Mexico, I know there's indigenous communities still. And their dialects are very, very different. And ours is too. So it's really interesting to see that. And then when you come here, you mix American culture, which to me, American culture is just a variety of different things.
Yeah, absolutely.
You mix that and it's very, very different. With that being said, I wanted to ask you guys, what are some common misconceptions about Hispanic or Latinos that you've encountered?
Misconceptions? Maybe that every Hispanic or Latino comes from the same place.
Yeah. I think that's one of the biggest ones, is that we all come from
Mexico.
Like, we're all Mexican. Like, we're all Mexican. Like, no, like we're all very much clearly from different areas. Again, all have to do with like the culture, like of what, how we celebrate, how we talk, how we, you know, because even like some, like you wouldn't assume all white people are from like the same place. Some people are Italian. Some people are, from, they're German. Some people, so like you wouldn't want to assume that the same way for Latinos or Hispanics, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Anything to add?
I had something and then I kind of just went away.
Spaced out.
Yeah.
I was going to say that, yeah, exactly. We're not all the same. We're all very, very different in our own ways. And that's one of my favorite things. One thing I really dislike is when Mexicans say we're better than los Guatemaltecos or we're better than the Salvadorians, or because the way I see it is there's so much beauty in the difference that we have. And especially, for example, learning, if we bring Day of the Dead, there's so much I've learned about how Mexicans celebrate Day of the Dead than ours. Like, you guys have Pan de Muerto. We don't use Pan de Muerto. We use something else. We use most commonly el atole de elote, which is a very hot drink that's prepared and you put beans inside.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know you put. I didn't know you put beans.
But they're like those big beans. I don't know the name, but you use that and you leave it on the table for your ancestors. And and the flowers we use are very different. So for me, it's one of my favorite things to learn. It's like, no, we're not better, and you're not better than us. I love how there's differences.
Yeah.
And then Salvadoreños, like I don't know about their Day of the Dead actually.
I'm trying to think too, but I think it's, I mean, from all I know, like how I've done it, because my family never really like celebrates it like that. I feel like, at least from what I've noticed, because I see it more outside of home than I do in home. Like my mom will do something small, I think, but she does it more like Mexican tradition. I feel like
it's like an ofrenda.
Yeah, but like I never really, at least not from my knowledge, I don't really remember growing up like celebrating Day of the Dead. Like I always knew it was a thing, but never really like celebrating it.
Do you think it was because of you guys living here that?
I mean, maybe because when I grew up, when I was born here in Marin, but I grew up in Richmond for the first few years of my life, and then that's when I moved down to Marin. It was kind of like back and forth a little bit, but then I stayed here. Obviously, I'm here now, but I might be, but at the same time at home, I never really noticed it either. Like I would always, we'd talk about it, obviously, but like I don't really remember if there was like a certain way we celebrated it.
Yeah, well, the whole point of me bringing it up is I love learning the different things and activities that we do, and their dances. Like we have la marimba, which is danced very differently than what Mexicans dance do. Salvador does, which which is really cool. Do you guys have any questions?
No, but I did want to say, to the point where you were saying like them saying like, oh, we're Mexicans are better than like Salvadorians or anything like that. I think that always is a thing that upsets me too, because I feel like because of, you know, where we are as far as like in America, or even if we're outside of America, I feel like we should all be united as far as like, I mean, we all come from the same place over there in like Central America, you know, down there. And I think it's really bad if we all like divide each other like that when we should be united, because, you know, we're all coming from like a place of, you know, we already get discriminated and already get, you know, into things like that here in America. And I feel like the more we are separating each other from, you know, not trying to stay united, I think that almost helps, you know, people be like, oh, you guys don't even like each other. So it's like, oh, you know, so I think we should always make sure to remember our differences, but remember what also brings us together as far as like where we're from, the culture and all that stuff, so we can, you know, be united and keep doing good.
Because when I was growing up in school, it was like that. It was like a competition. Oh, you're from Mexico, you're from Guatemala, you're from El Salvador. Like, oh, no, I'm better. You know, it was like kind of like a cat and mouse game. You know, we'd always be competing on who was better, who had better food, all that.
You made a fair point when you brought up, you know, the difference of being here. You know, with what's going on now, you know, there's always been a battle that Hispanic Latinos face. Yes, there's this awesome month of Hispanic Heritage Month that is celebrated here in America, but there's a lot of battles we've had to face and continue to face. A lot of them is immigration. A lot of them is language barrier, culture barrier, and even identity. And maybe you guys fall into this a little more, where it's when you're a first gen or second gen, whether you're born here or not, you have this identity crisis at times because you're not from your family's country, but you're also not American. And if you go to, let's say, to your country, you're more American than you are from there. And if you're here, you're more Latino than you're American. Exactly. And I think I've heard a lot that can bring a lot of an identity crisis, and I can speak to that because for a really long time, and I think deep down my parents also, whether they accept it or not, because of being in America, we were like, okay, we have to learn English and learn Spanish, and our language slowly has died within our family. Even for myself, like I don't practice it a lot and I can understand it, but speaking it has been really, really challenging now. But I feel like it was an identity crisis that my parents had to face and be like, oh, you know. But anyway,
no, I totally
to bring that up.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I feel like I heard it in the movie where J-Lo played Selena, right?
Okay.
Yeah, and her dad was telling her, Abraham was telling her, you guys gotta, you know. He was like telling ponte la trucha, you know, like ponte las pilas, you know, you gotta be good, because you're not gonna be Mexican enough to be Mexican over there, because they're gonna see you as Americans, and if over here they don't see you as Americans because you're too Mexican, so you're always gonna be in the middle. You're never gonna satisfy either side. Yeah. And when I heard that in the movie, and I already was kind of thinking about that, I was like, oh, I mean, if I ever go over there, they're gonna clearly tell that I'm, you know, a little bit more American because that's where I'm from. But being here also, like, I'm not fully American either, because I'm Latino, I'm Mexican. So like I that was always sat with me after I seen that, and I always thought about it, and I definitely agree with the identity crisis thing. Yeah, that's always been something that I've been dealing with, I think.
Yeah, because this past summer when I went to El Salvador, even though I speak the language,
was it your first time?
No, it was my first time in like 17 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but when I went, it was people look at you different. But the people who are from there, they know you're not from there.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah,
like, we all look like sort of the same, but I know
they just know. Yeah,
like I'll be walking down the street and they'll be like, people would just say, yeah, they would just stare at me like I know you're not from here.
Yeah, like that's what that's what me and my girlfriend, we were talking about it with her dad, and he's from Guatemala. And we were talking about that, like, if we ever go visit, they're gonna just know that me and my girlfriend aren't like from there. They're gonna see us and be like, "Oh, you guys are from America. We can tell."
I think it's also because if you go back home, there's this the culture is different.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Absolutely. There's a bigger bond in community in a way. Like they look out for each other. Like they can, the gossip behind each other's back.
Yeah, absolutely.
But there's always this tightness of like, I got your back in a
community.
way. That like if I go back home, my grandma can know that la vecina, you know, the neighbor, they communicate and talk.
Yeah.
I think about my neighbors, I barely communicate with them. Yeah. If it's not about parking or like small little things, we don't have that relationship. So when someone arrives, it's like, who's that? We know who that person is different, you know?
Yeah, it's almost like they notice like an outsider. Yeah, like,
exactly.
You know,
There is an identity crisis, but I also think it's a huge opportunity because you're neither from there or there, but you have these two worlds that you can make your own.
Exactly.
And I think that can take a really long time for people to accept and own it, right? You're not Salvadorian, you're American and Salvadorian. You combine those two, you can create wonderful things. And
absolutely.
But there's definitely some challenges that can come with being raised here and grow up here. Do you guys want to talk maybe a little bit about the challenges you guys have had and maybe overcome?
I'll let me go first on this one. I got to think about it.
You're good. I mean, a big thing that I noticed as I've gotten older is just how much I actually want to learn about my culture, you know, like from where I'm from and stuff. Because I remember when I was little, I would, not even too little, but when I was younger, I would complain a lot, like about like my mom like playing this loud ass music at, you know, in the morning cleaning, and I'm like, Mom, turn that off. I'm like, you know, people were trying to sleep, but it was just me complaining. But then now I'm like, turn that up. Well, that's fine, right? But like I definitely have noticed that as I got older, I like to learn a lot more about not even just my culture, but other you know, Hispanic cultures and just cultures in general. And I think I'm very happy that I'm able to accept it more. Like, oh, okay, cool. This is how, you know, my family is, you know, right? How they raised, you know, how they raised, you know, their kids and how they got raised and how you know, how we work out all this stuff. Because, like the thing you said about the Day of the Dead, I definitely noticed it more as I got older. Like around like 18, 19 is when I noticed my mom was really like getting it. Because before that, I swear I didn't notice she was making like ofrendas. But around that age is when I was like, wait, what are you? And I realized she was putting like the pan de muerto and like, you know, drinks there and like pictures of our family, of her family too, right? And I was like, oh, this is cool. And I knew what it was, but I didn't, you know, again, I didn't really care because I was like, you know, whatever. But then later I like asked her more about it or learned more about it on the internet or at, you know, and I thought it was really cool. But yeah, I mean, as I got older, I started being more interested in wanting to learn more about, you know, the culture.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. I really want to learn more about my culture for sure. Because I feel like sometimes I know more about other people's cultures than I do my own, you know, and especially recently, especially since I went, it's so different over there. And like you were saying, everyone knows each other over there. And with the music too.
Oh, music.
For me, I feel like I've always liked like a Salvadorian cumbia, like cumbias.
Yeah, for sure.
I've always liked them, even growing up. And especially more now, because, you know, I can listen to their lyrics now and understand them a little bit more.
Yeah,
but, yeah, I would just say definitely learn more about my own culture. Yeah.
That's awesome. I think I'm also with you guys. I was born in Guatemala, but I came here when I was really little. That there's a lot of things that I didn't grow up knowing. And I also grew up in a very small town, very conservative town, I would say, meaning like very old beliefs that even, I mean, my family brought some of that here, and they've had to slowly kind of look at things differently and change in a way that, for example, in my experience, music was not very welcome, and because that's considered not good, and like cumbias, merengues, salsas, bachata, that isn't something that we were necessarily, it was good to look to listen to or to even dance. Like in my experience, I don't know how to dance because my parents don't know how to dance and my grandparents don't know how to dance. But for me, being 22 years old, I want to have that experience of dancing to music like that because it's part of our culture, and there's so much life to it that being here, I feel like it that's why I said it's also a blessing and an opportunity being here and being in the middle, because I get to experience these other cultures and kind of like, hey, I want to add that to my life, you know. It doesn't absolutely. It's not just culture from Guatemala. It's like I want to be able to grab to this and experience it on my own.
Absolutely.
Yeah, which is really nice. Are there any traditions in your in your families or culture that are very important to you that you've had in your life? Like,
I'm blanking now.
I mean, I'll go real quick. What do you think? The Day of the Dead one. I mean, that one is really cool. Every year now, since I've noticed it, my mom's always putting up an ofrenda. My dad is too, and they're putting up, my grandparents, their grandparents, their loved ones are on there with their pictures and their favorite drinks when they were alive, when they were here, and their pan de muerto and all that stuff. And I think it's really pretty. I mean, I've always liked that tradition. And even then, like before that, I mean, the closest thing I've seen to seeing that outside of my house is, I guess, the movie Coco. I mean, that's kind of like an obvious one, right? But after that, I really was like, oh, I mean, I almost feel like that kind of like was like, although it's just a movie, granted, they took time to go look at the culture, pay attention to it, right? And kind of like craft a movie and a story around that. I did appreciate that they were able to do that. And it almost opened my eyes to, how beautiful it actually is, that tradition. So that's really cool. That's one that I really like.
I feel like now thinking about it, it's like during like the holidays, everyone celebrates Christmas differently. And I feel like at least in my house, in my household, and I've seen other like friends that are Salvadorian too, we have, instead of having like turkey or something on Thanksgiving or on Christmas, you have your different foods. We always have panes con pollo. That's like one thing.
What is panes con pollo?
Yeah, it's hard. I don't know. It's literally like a pan francés with like a sauce.
I'm hungry now.
It's like sauce with.
It's like the torta bread, right?
Yeah. Okay, cool. It's like chicken. There's like a sauce that you put on it, plus like the caldo from the chicken that's cooked in. And then it's like, lettuce, tomato, all that.
You're making me hungry.
Yeah, it's super good. And it's probably my favorite food.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It's like, I noticed that for sure. Like during the holidays, we'll have like our kind of food instead of, it's like, and then I would also say eating pupusas with your hands and not a fork and knife.
Oh my God. Yes.
Yes.
Eating the proper way.
Yeah. With like tortillas.
Not like a taco, but like,
you split it. Yeah.
You just rip it up.
Now I'm getting hungry too.
Yeah, I was gonna say that too. The food, just like the food that they make around that time, or just for like like events, like or like just holidays. Like it's really good. Like my mom makes pozole, and it's so good. She makes
that's so interesting. Pozole,
panes con pollo. They call it panes rellenos too. Other people like from different parts of El Salvador say, like I'll say, panes con pollo, and someone like, what's that? And they're from El Salvador, but they say it differently. They say, panes rellenos.
Yeah. Nice.
Ours are tamales.
Yeah.
But our tamales look very different. People call them paches, but we call them tamales. Some people call them paches. We call them tamales, but it's not tamal with masa. Masa. It's made with rice.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So we have the one. If you make tamales with masa, we call them chuchitos.
Yeah.
Chuchitos. And then and those are traditionally made in Christmas, New Year's. And then for me, I think when I asked you guys the question, for me, I love the Christmas tradition, which is like you wait until midnight.
Yes.
Yeah. Midnight. Yeah.
Me too.
Because I think American way, it's like
the next day.
You have Christmas Eve is you have a good dinner, you go to bed, in the morning you wake up with presents.
Right.
But in our household, we make tamales, chuchitos. It's like the family comes together, they cook all together, and then we wait until midnight to eat the tamales, and then it's games, and we stay up really, really late.
Yeah.
3 a.m. or even until morning. And then it's just like, it's a fun time. It's a tradition that I hope to continue.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy that. Yeah. The other thing that I'm learning is Day of the Dead. For my family, when your ancestors pass or your loved ones pass, it's for us, they're gone. You can't do much. That's it. And they're not honored in any way. A big portion of my family don't even go to the grave because they don't believe, they believe that person has passed. But there's another side of my family where they do acknowledge our ancestors despite of them not being physically there, And it's something that I'm learning to love. I'm learning to enjoy. I'm learning to. My first ever altar was last year, if you can believe that, and it was so beautiful because my mom, her dad passed when she was 7, and she's always had a really hard time. Like my dad was never around, and so I asked her, like, I really want to do an altar, and I asked permission. It was really strange because I asked permission if I could do an altar because I didn't want to offend anyone in my family, which felt weird because I was like, it's part of our culture, but can I? And my mom was like, I've never done one. And so we did it together, and it was such a wholesome moment because my little brother he was 9, and I was like, I want you to experience it. And we printed photos of my grandparents and we put them up there. And my grandma was here, and she got so emotional seeing her husband and her mom up there. So it was such a beautiful experience of like bringing your family together and acknowledging, like, yeah, if it weren't for these people, like, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
So it was a beautiful moment. So Day of the Dead definitely hits a spot for sure.
I have to do more research about Salvador. I don't know if El Salvador does anything different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to look that up.
What about quinces?
Oh.
How are those celebrated with you guys?
It's funny because when I went to El Salvador this past summer, it was technically to go to 2 quinces out there.
Oh,
To 2?
Yeah, it was one was on a Saturday, one was on a Sunday. Yeah.
Sunday.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, and that was like my mom and my tias, all their main reasons to go because it was like family, and for me it was just kind of just to go.
Okay.
Yeah, because and to meet my other family members too that I only like talked through the phone and all that because we've met, but I was 4, so I don't really remember much.
We met.
Yeah, and but yeah, I mean, quinces, I noticed over there, they're like very different because they don't have like a big salon to do it in, both of the 2 quinces we went to were in the same spot, like same exact layout and everything. And like they do like the dances, like the first one they didn't like do like baile sorpresa. They didn't do that, but the second one they did, so it was a little bit different. I feel like it's almost the same as here. It's just more, it's just a community because everyone knows you there. Everyone knows each other there. Like we walked to the place where they had the quince.
Oh, so it's like,
yeah, it was super close. Yeah, and yeah, I think it was for how it was over there. I think it's just more like family and friends, more just small community. It was still like a party. Like there's still music and everything like that, but it was more like just people because I know quinces here, it's like everyone shows up.
Yeah.
I haven't been at quince in years, but like back in high school when I used to go to quinces a lot, it was like everyone would show up, friends of friends, people wouldn't even know each other.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It sounds like the ones that you went to are very like centered around like the girls that had them, but the community, like just that community there that knows them.
It's that little pueblo.
A little pueblo, yeah. Because here, it definitely, like you invite people and then like 10 more people show up because they're like, oh, can they come? Yeah. And like friends of friends, people, people that know people, like, oh, let's go to this party.
The dresses out there are smaller too. They're not as like wide. They're big, but they're not like I've seen them here. Because I've been in like 6 quinces, and all the dresses were hella big.
Yeah, me too. I've been to, and they're big.
Yeah.
They look like princesses.
Yeah.
I think it's cute. Yeah.
Well, in my town, quinces are not that big. I don't even know if they do quinces. I think they do now because of how popular it has gotten. But if you're talking to our indigenous community, I don't think that's very common or done. There's definitely a time where they honor and celebrate like or not celebrate, but they acknowledge that, oh, you're transitioning into women, but it's not when you're 15. It's actually when a girl starts a cycle, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
That's where they're acknowledged of like,
Interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, because it's always for here it's always been like, okay, 15, you get a party and you get a
well, that's kind of like back in the day now, but nowadays like it's so different because for example, it's also, so 15 is, if I understand correctly, is kind of like where you are stop being a young girl, you're kind of into a young
Transition,
lady. Yeah. But back in the days, it's kind of like, oh, you're good to get married and stuff. Like in our hometown, that's just kind of how it was, right? It's
similar,
yeah. So, but I don't have a lot of cousins. I think maybe 2 or 3 who had a quince, but it's very, very different. And again, there's not big dresses and stuff. Here, it's gotten so much popular, like very expensive.
Oh yeah.
I feel like it's turned into a thing where you have to like kind of go all out, and like it has to be a big celebration, and it's almost seen as if it's not a big celebration. It's almost like maybe like the family or the parents didn't care, or like they didn't acknowledge it, or something. I don't know, but
yeah, I haven't gone to a lot. I have gone to a couple, but I was telling Javier this. I'm like, I've gone to Christian quinces, which are very different from traditional, or I don't know if it's traditional, but from common quinces. I wanted to talk a little bit more about kind of the to transition of why Hispanic Latino Heritage Month is important, and for others to understand a little bit more. The way I saw it and the way I connected it is more of acknowledging the work of Latinos in America and what they've done to break barriers. As we mentioned earlier, Latinos have always had a hard route here because laws and everything. But one way I can see it and connecting it to you, Miguel, is, for example, when you talk about the first Latina who's ever won an Oscar, or first Latina to create a film, or Latino, all of these other things barriers are breaking. That's when you're, to me as a, I'll put it this way. Have you guys seen, Rome, I think Roma.
I heard of it.
Have you seen the main actress?
I think I've seen a picture of her. Yeah.
Okay. When I saw her, it did something to the little me inside. Because if you look at her, she looks a little bit more indigenous Latina type of person.
Absolutely.
And usually in TVs and stuff, you'll see Mexicans but they're usually white.
Yeah.
Right? Am I right about that?
Yeah, you are.
So seeing her and then her getting nominated, it did something to the little child in me of like, if that person can do it, I can do it.
Absolutely.
So this is an opportunity to acknowledge, for example, Cesar Chavez and what was the other lady, we had her on the show, of CCC. But they did a lot of work to make our path easier and better and continue the journey. But I wanted to hear from you guys. Have you had those moments where, we're talking about in America, where you see someone and you're like, I can do it? Or like it inspires you because they've broken these barriers that are there.
Yeah. I was gonna say maybe what's his name? Oscar Isaac.
Oh yeah,
Oscar Isaac. I think he's like Guatemalan or something.
And
like that.
Cuban.
He's Cuban, Guatemalan.
Yeah, because he's
awesome.
like one of the first live action Latino superheroes. Yeah. With Moon Knight, even though it was just a Disney Plus series.
Yeah, it's
like one of my favorite Disney Plus series. Yeah. Honestly, that because it's like he's Latino, but he's also like brown. You know what I mean? He's not.
Yeah.
Because I know Pedro Pascal too. Yeah. But he's very like gringo,
He's a little bit like lighter. But
lighter, yeah. That's why.
There's nothing wrong with that, but
nothing wrong with that. Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
But when we talk about like it's funny too if we bring that onto the conversation. Like we talked about how there's only like Latinos only come from Mexico. No, Latinos come from all over. There's different.
Yeah.
If we talk about Latinos, Brazil is considered Latino. They're not considered Hispanic, but they're considered Latinos, and we're all from different color, sizes. Like there's some super tall Latinos, but there's like Guatemalans are really short, but you'll meet Guatemalans some that are really tall. They can be white, they can be blue-eyed. So Latinos can be overall in general.
Absolutely.
But the larger population of it is also darker skinned.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say in El Salvador, a lot of people are in some parts of El Salvador they're a lot browner. And then in other parts are a lot lighter tone. They're taller. Some are blonde. And it's like you can really tell the differences in just in the same country, same culture, just different parts of it. Yeah, it's like different. Like where I was, it was a bunch of people like they were just like me, just brown. But then we went like to like El Centro, and like where everyone goes, and then you can see the difference in like
people.
Yeah, even though they're all the same,
But it does definitely do something when we talk about like media and film. When you see people that look like you, it just does something, I think, internal for a person, that it can push them to believe in themselves a little more. And even when they don't see it, they want to be that example. So anyway, continuing to you, Miguel. Who did you see? Or
the guy from Ant-Man, what's his name again?
Who's the guy from Ant-Man? The best friend.
Yeah, Miguel. Is his name Miguel Peña?
No, Michael Peña.
Michael Peña.
Yeah, Michael Peña. Yeah, he's actually a big one, because I think he was in a movie called like 1,000 Miles Away, 1,000,000 Miles Away, which is about a Mexican like guy who worked on like a farm, and he studied and worked really hard to become an astronaut, and he became an astronaut. And I was gonna say, actually, that actor, Michael Peña, that one, he is in a lot of stuff, and it's varied. Like, he's in like really comedies, he's in action movies, he's in like a bunch of different stuff, and that he always kind of gave me like people that look like me or people that look like us can be action stars. They can be great comedic actors. They could be this, they could be that. They could be writers, they could be producers, all that stuff. And there's I'm forgetting his like last name, but there's this guy who he directed The Revenant. And he won the Oscar for it. Like, he won an Oscar for it, and he's Mexican. Oh, nice. And his name's Alejandro, and I forget his last name. But he walked up, and I remember he gave a speech. He has like an accent, like it was cool. His hair is all crazy. He was like, "Oh, thank you guys so much. Thank you to everybody." And at the very end, he was just like, "And this is for my father. I love you guys." And then he just walked off. Like seeing people that look very different, and then also Guillermo del Toro, who looks way different. He's a lot lighter, but he has like full beard and like his Spanish, just he's from there, that's all that stuff. I think very much makes me like happy to see how many different kinds of Mexicans and Hispanics are like recognized and win like awards, or are seen doing like art like that. You know what I mean? So that's all. Anytime I see anybody, that could be just an actor, I always am like, that's awesome, that's amazing. I always am very happy to see.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. One thing that I've had for myself, and a goal for myself, is, and being part of TAY, and especially even being part of the Mill Valley Film Festival. I've told Javier, like, being a Latina, indigenous, being in the middle of mainly white people. I mean, I don't take it like, oh, the white people, I'm like, it makes me proud, because I'm like, I want to be able to push the boundaries and be like, yes, I speak a native language, and I understand, and if I go back home, my tradition, but I'm here. And I want to make sure to not forget that part of myself, because I think about, young girls who think that they can't do anything, and if I can be that example, that to me means a lot. So watching other people accomplish things, business owners, and even, for example, in Marin County, we have a lot of hardworking Latinos.
Absolutely.
And Hispanics. They're business owners, and it makes me so proud seeing how much local business owners are Latinos, and how they're pushing the boundaries, how they're making it work and providing opportunities for themselves and for others. And I think that's powerful.
Yeah.
And that to me is, when I think of Hispanic Heritage Month, I want to think about that, because I know it hasn't been easy for our community, but they're pushing it. They're not taking no for an answer, and
they're fighting the battles.
Yeah. So I think that's really important.
Yeah.
Do you guys have anything else to add?
I mean,
or questions, comments?
All I was going to say was, I mean, I love that me and Jesse, and even Devin, although he's not Latino, he's still a person of color. Like, he's still, he's black and white, he's mixed. But like, I think why we go so hard and take so much time to do what we do, like as far as films or art or whatever, we do it because we love it. But we also would, I'm sure, I'm saying it for both of you, but I hope I'm not like wrong. But we also want to be that example, like for other people who are like us, like be like, hey, chase your dream, like just do it. Don't fear what's gonna happen. Just if you love it, just do it. You don't have to worry about like, oh, but what if it's not good, or what if it doesn't get into a festival? What if this? What if that? Anything like that. We always go back to like just doing it. Like, just if you love the art enough or love what you do enough, you can just chase it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I would agree with Miguel.
And anyone can do it.
I love that, and I love how you guys are are making it happen. I think there's a very difference when you complain about the challenges and don't do anything versus acknowledging the challenges, facing it, and still doing what you're doing despite all of those factors. And having local Latino filmmakers, the Mill Valley Film Festival has opened my eyes a lot because we've had films in Portuguese, films in... It's crazy because we had this director, she's Asian, and the Asian community came. And then there's films... Watching films that are like you can see the subtitles but it's not in your language and being able to still watch it, that to me is like this is great, you know, and that opens my eyes a lot for opportunities, and also really understanding like America is all cultures.
Absolutely.
It's not one, and once you understand that, you start being a little bit more open and understanding. Anything else?
Yeah, no, that's just that right there. Like America is all kinds of different cultures and all kinds of different people coming together. That's what makes America America. So as long as you like can see that and like acknowledge that and embrace it, you know, don't, because if you try to fight it, it turns into a problem, and you know, like it turns into like discrimination, this racism, all this other stuff. But if you acknowledge that America was built by people from all different kinds of backgrounds, everything, you know.
Yeah, I also feel like for Hispanic Heritage Month too, I feel like it's also to recognize the differences in between all different kind of Hispanic people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, because so do you guys know the difference between Hispanic and Latinos?
I was going to ask you that earlier when you said like, Brazil is like Latino but not Hispanic. What was that? Yeah, what is?
Okay, so I'm gonna read to you guys because when you fill out a lot of forms, they'll ask you, are you Hispanic or Latino? They're not in the sometimes they're not in the same category.
Yeah.
So Hispanic, the meaning of let's see. I'm trying to find it. Hispanic refers to people who speak Spanish or are descendant from Spanish-speaking populations, while Latino refers to people who are from or descendant from people from Latin America. So that's why I said Brazil counts as Latino,
but not Hispanic.
Not Hispanic because they don't speak Spanish. They mean their main language is Portuguese.
Oh, wow.
Although if you speak with but if you speak with people who speak Portuguese, they can still understand your Spanish. It's a lot easier for them to understand our Spanish than us understanding Portuguese.
Sure.
Yeah. So it's not just like Latinos. It's also Brazilian. Like I love the food. Brazilian food is so delicious. I mean, I love the pan de queso. If you say it in their traditional way, they have an accent. But pan de queso, I love their pan de queso. It's one of my favorites. So really, this is an opportunity for us to explore and maybe we don't like certain things about each other's culture, but it's not to bring us down, but it's to encourage us and understand. And I'm a big believer of doing a little bit more research and being understanding. And what I mean by that is there are certain things that in Mexican culture and Salvadoran culture that I don't understand, but when I look into it, I'm like, oh, but that's why you guys celebrate that, or I don't. Maybe it's not something I want for me, but it's something that I can understand. And when you come to me, I don't say, oh, but what you're doing is wrong. How could you, like, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, I understand. It's not maybe it's not something I agree with, but I can respect it.
Exactly.
And that is what we need more of each other.
Exactly.
Regardless if it's Latino or Hispanic, it can be of any other culture, French, Italian. Just having that mindset of like, I don't agree with it, but I can respect it is really important.
Absolutely.
Because we're kind of at the end of the show, I'm gonna just like throw in the question: what's your favorite food in your country?
You go first.
I would say probably panes con pollo or pupusas. Oh no, actually I'm wrong. No, I just thought about it.
You just
yuca frita.
Oh, I love yuca.
Yeah.
That's serious. I don't know what that is.
You haven't had yuca?
What is that? No.
Frita?
We gotta go to the Salvadoran place down the street over here.
Let's go.
They have really good yuca frita over there.
But what is it though? You didn't say it yet.
I don't know. It's like, it's almost like a potato.
Do you know what a yuca is?
It's almost like a potato.
It's a potato, no? Yeah, like a potato.
Kind of.
I don't know, but in caldo de res, it's used in caldo de res.
Yeah.
It's much thicker than potatoes.
Yeah, it isn't.
But does it taste like a potato, like a little bit?
No.
It's so.
I think I know what it is, but I don't think I've had it. I think I know what it is.
Is it sweet? I don't think it's sweet.
It doesn't taste like a potato.
I need a bite.
You need a bite.
Right.
What?
But Salvadorians do yuca frita.
Yeah, I had some out there.
Nice. Yeah. I would say mine is either pozole in both, like, pozole con tomatillo, which is the green one, like the green pozole, or just regular pozole, which is the red one. And either that, or I like the tamales, are just traditional, just tamales with, like, chicken or, beef or pork, whatever. Delicious.
I would have to say my favorite food is recado.
I don't know what that is.
Recado is kind of like, what's the name?
Mole.
It's kind of like mole.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But I love recado. And the other thing that I really enjoy eating that is not from my... Okay, I like recado. I like our chutitos, which is my favorite.
Those are good too.
I love atol de lote. It's
delicious. My grandma makes them really good atol de lote.
The traditional atol de lote, because, what I mean by traditional is our traditional way, it doesn't have milk. Yeah, our traditional way is very, very different from, but it's still my favorite. Even if I try atol de lote from other countries, I think it's still my favorite. I love it. But if you ask my family, and every year I ask it for my birthday, it's you either give me recado or pupusas. It's not. I mean, we also have pupusas too, but I feel like they're different flavors.
Yeah, it's not the same.
But I love pupusas. They're my favorite food.
Yeah, recado is really good. I've had it.
You've had it, yeah.
Yeah, it's delicious.
Or estofado, but
no, I don't know what that is.
Estofado looks kind of like recado. To be, it might be the same, but I just know I asked recado and they gave it to me.
Yeah, no recado. Yeah, but that's delicious.
Okay, what are some restaurants in Marin County that you would recommend for others to go eat?
That I don't know what it's called, but it's just down there.
Where down there?
It's like on A Street or something like that. Oh my god! And my grandma goes there.
What's it called?
I don't.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, what about you, Miguel? What's a good Mexican restaurant here?
Good Mexican restaurant. I would recommend.
And Javi, this question's for you too in the back. What's a good Mexican restaurant?
I would recommend. Can I recommend a taco truck? Because it's a restaurant. It's a restaurant, but I go to the truck all the time. It's up in Petaluma though, but it's called is it El Roy's?
El Roy's.
El Roy's Taco Truck. Okay. They sell delicious tacos and they got other food and tortas and stuff. Me and Mel, my girlfriend, we go and get tortas cubanas. So it has like carne asada on it and like, a bunch of other stuff.
You brought up like one of the things that I wished is that we had more variety of Latino food because tortas cubanas and then I tried Peruvian ceviche. I was blown away. But I would love to try more authentic Peruvian ceviche because it's very different from Mexican ceviche. And then Costa Rican food. I traveled to Costa Rica for a few years ago for 3 weeks, and I tried their food, and it's different seasoning. So, and then Brazilian food. Like I wish we had all
of them,
like a variety of everything.
Yeah, to just try everything.
I found the name.
What's
the name?
La Esperanza.
La Esperanza.
Yeah.
Ooh, I don't know that one.
It's right on 4th Street.
La Esperanza. Okay.
Yeah, it's really good. That's where we go a lot with my family too.
Nice.
I've gone just by myself.
It's good.
Yeah.
And then Javier said El Picante.
Oh.
In Canal.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I used to live across the street from there when I lived with my one of my aunts. It was great. Yeah.
Okay, now the other question. Who I'll give you guys one shout out for a local Latino business owner here in Marin County. Who would it be?
Here in Marin?
Yes.
I'm going to shout out Glenda because my mom works out with her.
Glenda. G Active. Latina owned.
Yep.
I'm trying to think.
Javi, also a question for you.
Because I know my mom, she doesn't live in Marin, but she has like her little business.
Shout it out, man. It's cool.
I don't know her name for it because she's just starting it, but she just started. It's like she does like lashes and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
That's fire.
Yeah, she just graduated her.
Can we shout out? Never mind.
Oh, fine. I'll give you guys another one.
Nah, that's good. That's fine.
I'm trying to.
I'm happy with my answer.
Miguel Rodriguez Studios.
It's not a local business.
It's local, no?
It's local.
Javi, do you have any?
But it's not a business.
Any local or Mel in the back?
Vernez.
Vernez.
What's
Yeah, shout out to
Vernez?
Vernez.
It's my friend. He has a clothing brand. Named
Latino
Vernez.
owned as well?
Latino.
Yep.
He's from Guatemala. Yeah.
We actually had 2 of his pieces in Boys.
Yeah.
Jesse wore both.
Okay.
Yeah, that was dope.
Well, I'm going to, because it's Bonita. Bonita Western Wear in Novato. It's a clothing store. They have beautiful clothes. They sponsored Day of the Dead before. So shout out to them.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a Latina owned. I'm pretty sure it's Latina owned. And then for mine, I would say because of Hispanic Heritage Month, I'm gonna say Alma Semillera, which is actually my family business.
I was gonna say, can we say yours? That's what I was gonna say. I just didn't know the name.
My family business, Alma Semillera. We make masa, horchata, pozole, and it's all organic, and we want to bring back the authentic food from when we were growing up for myself and my parents. So it's Alma Semillera. But also for other Latino-owned restaurants here, ay, se me fue el nombre. El Sabor a Mexico. I love the restaurant here. And it's also in Sabor a Mexico. Mi Blanquita Pupuseria. Did I say that, Javier, correct? Blanquita Pupuseria. Yeah, it's Salvadorian. Guatemalan restaurant. I don't go there very often, but also give them a shout out. Shout out is El Lucerito.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't go there often.
You know what else too? Star Restaurant.
Restaurant.
Oh my God, yes, Star Restaurant.
Restaurant.
They're Guatemalan owned.
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Star Restaurant. So this is a great opportunity to share some of the local business owners, and we probably missed a lot because there's a lot.
There's a lot, yeah.
Yeah,
So shout out
there's
to
a
all
lot
of them, but
so those are restaurants, but there's like painting business, lash tech businesses, filmmakers. There's so many. I wish we had like a hub of places that are Latino owned.
Yeah.
But with that being said, do you guys have any final thoughts on this show? Thank you for joining me, by the way. It's been really
Thank you for
nice
having
hearing
us,
your
was
thoughts
fun.
and ideas.
yeah.
No, I think pretty
good.
much covered everything.
I was gonna say Shelahu is also a restaurant in
Shelahu.
Yeah, Shelahu is in Canal next to
Oh, next to Yusheng. I
Yeah,
think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Shelahu. It's very
The
popular
little
as
grocery
well.
Store? Is it like a little grocery store?
No. That's another. I think it's a Latino-owned grocery store. That's Mi Placita Market. But in that area, there's Shelahu. It's a restaurante guatemalteco.
Oh,
Dope.
okay.
Yep. Any other? I can't think of any other
I
ones.
can't think of any other ones. Oh, you know, Flash is doing detailing.
Oh,
now.
yeah.
Yeah, Top Golden Detailing. That's my friend. He does
What's it called?
Top Golden Detailing. He does
Top golden detailing.
that's what he called
so
it.
funny.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, but he does
Yeah.
detailing for cars now and stuff, which is pretty dope. So shout out to him.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, any advice, final thoughts on what would you tell someone younger than you?
Just go for it. So just go
Yeah.
for it.
Just do it, Nike.
Just do it.
That's
The
good enough.
Nike.
No, I'm playing. No, yeah. For someone who's younger than me, I would just say, if you're interested in your own culture or just other people's culture, do it. Just research it. Go to events. Go to, we're gonna have the Day of the Dead events and in the car, all that stuff. Just go to that. Like, just go check it out. It's always fun to, watch and appreciate someone else's culture. And if not that, then at least look into yours if you have some too. Yeah, because everyone has some. So
Yeah, for sure.
One of the biggest things I've learned with owning, with my family, owning a couple businesses, I learned that sometimes we are ashamed of our own culture, or we are afraid. We have an idea, this awesome idea, but then you think, no, it's not going to work because we're only targeting one audience, or it's not going to, you have all of these no's in your head. And then being in different industries, I've gotten to meet people, and what I find sad, and this is just a personal thing, is when I see someone else that is not from my culture taking advantage or making profit of our culture. And some of those ideas can come from our community.
yeah,
And you're like, man, why? And usually the why is because we were afraid to.
Yeah.
Because we thought that there wasn't going to be
Exactly.
success in it.
yeah. So
And yeah, you want
so just don't shy away from your cultures or ideas that you have. So just
Yeah, that was a big thing for us and our family, because Alma Semillera was one of them, because when I looked at all of these local businesses and seeing what they're doing, I'm like, what? And then some of them do their research about our culture, and they're like, there's an opportunity here. And so I wish more of our Latino community can stop shying away and get rid of those no's and really own our culture, because there's so much value that it has.
Absolutely.
But I understand why too, because of the laws and all of these things that can get in the way. But really, like you said, push the limits and follow your dreams. You never know what comes out of it.
Absolutely.
So it's good to take that opportunity, and if it fails, you still did it, and you won't have that doubt, and that doubt will definitely bring you down for years. And
the regret of not
the regret of not doing it is worse than doing it and failing.
So that's it for our show. Thank you so much for tuning, and I hope we didn't confuse you guys too much with Hispanic Heritage Month. Again, we kind of started with the show saying this is very new for us in a way, and some people might not like it, some people might like it, but it can definitely be an opportunity to grow and learn more about each other.
For sure.
Happy Hispanic Heritage Month to everyone. Hispanic Heritage Month /Latino.
There you go.
Okay, bye.